Well, hello, Keisha.
Hi there, Sonia. How's it going?
It's going great.
Good,
Are
good,
you as
good.
excited as I am?
I might be just a tad bit more excited.
I am so excited, and I want to welcome everyone that's watching right now, live and even after recording to Two Women and the Elephant. Me and Keisha have been working on this, and we are so very excited to welcome you to this Google Hangout, which we'll be doing every
Yes.
Tuesday at 8:30. Well, we're going to be talking about real issues, giving you real solutions for real women who are really ready to deal with their stuff.
Did you hear that?
Keisha,
Deal with your stuff.
deal with your stuff.
Hmm.
Keisha, you know, when we started this conversation on Two Women and the Elephant, it started from our conversation, right?
Right? Us trying to
So,
deal with our own personal stuff. So here
right.
we are
Because
today,
yeah,
bringing our stuff to life.
because people need to have a conversation about their stuff, and most of us don't want to have real conversations. So what we want to do tonight, ladies, is we want to talk about two elephants and two women, two elephants, two
Yeah,
women
I'm not
and
an
the
elephant.
elephant, and just kind of share with you what two women and elephants it all is all about. Because a lot of people are wondering, or we've been sharing, and everybody loves the name Two Women and the Elephant. So what we're going to do tonight is just kind of go over a little bit of what you can expect from joining us on our Google Hangout and at our monthly live event. We're going to have Two Women and an Elephant on a live event every month, which we're really excited about. Our first one is going to be September the 21st. So we're going to just kind of share with you what Two Women and an Elephant is about, because this is going to be a real intimate conversation. So I'm going to let Keisha kind of jump in and share her passion and her heart behind what Two Women and an Elephant is all about.
And you started talking about intimate conversations, and that's what this is. We believe that conversations can truly transform your life. And so that's the premise of Two Women and an Elephant. It's giving women a safe environment where we can have those taboo conversations, those things that your mama said, this ain't the space, don't talk about that. Well, with Two Women and an Elephant, you get to talk about it. Because at the end of the day, there is healing in conversations. I was actually talking to a lady this morning, and as I was talking to her, the one thing that, we agreed upon is that at the end of the day, whether you write your mess down, whether you talk about it out loud, whether you go sit down with a counselor and talk about it, however you get it out, you have to get that mess out. And also, I think what we're looking to do with this forum is to also
Mm.
offer women an opportunity to connect with other like-minded women, to find support systems, to find other people that are going through the same thing that they're going through and that can offer solutions from their perspective, having been there,
Yes.
done that, or even being in it and struggling with it. So we're building a community of women, a strong community of women that are going to work together so that we can become better, stronger, healthier, happier, more fulfilled women.
Yes, and when we started talking about this and we started having this conversation, we were like, well, what can we call it? What can we call it?
Right.
And I said, of course, God gave us the idea, but when you think about an elephant in the room, everybody kind of knows that's an American idiom, and it is basically where there's this big issue in the room, right?
Right.
Everybody sees the elephant in the room, but nobody wants to talk about it, deal with
Right.
it, discuss it. It's like it does not exist, but it's bam,
Exactly.
it's right in your face. And so the premise behind Two Women and the Elephant is really, I'm a believer. I believe this. I believe that what you don't deal with will deal with you.
You say that
And I
again.
believe it will. What you do not deal with deals with you. And I am a personal living witness to suppressing and stuffing and oppressing my pain. I did it for years. And so the elephant in the room could be anything. Whatever that is that's confronting you that you decided I don't want to deal with. We're going to talk about some real issues that women face every day and come from behind the elephant, if you will. I don't know, whatever your elephant name is, and really begin to identify what's hindering you, what's stopping you, what's keeping you from walking in your truth, what's keeping you from walking in your authenticity. That's what Two Women and an Elephant are about. And I love what you said, Keisha, about the fact that we're going to build community, because I think the one thing that we get deceived about is that we oftentimes, when we're struggling with whether it's depression, fear, shame, insecurity, whatever it is, we oftentimes think we are the only one that's struggling with that issue. Would you
Right.
agree?
Right. And it's so not true. So not
No.
true. You know, and the reality is, I mean, you talked about what is your elephant? You know, a lot of people don't identify with the elephant because we all, you know, many of us walking around nose in the air. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. When at the end of the
No, you
day,
didn't say nose in the air.
your elephant is this big or this big. We all have an elephant. Your elephant can be fear. So you stuck on that job that you know you sick and tired of, that you know your time is up on, but you sitting there trying to be invisible so that you don't have to deal with all the mess that's going on around with you, with your sadness, your unhappiness being in that place. You in a relationship where you're dealing with whether it's, and they're all forms of domestic abuse, whether that's verbal, physical, whatever, and you're not discussing it. Your family know, your friends know, but ain't nobody gonna call you on it. Nobody gonna say anything to you about it, and you just not even gonna address it. You know, and there are other things. I mean, you talk about just even dealing with depression, you know, dealing with
Yes.
mother-daughter relationships, dealing with
Yes.
friendships. There are so many elephants and so many things that we're dealing with, you know, and
Yes.
even broken relationships. Many of us are dealing with broken relationships and we don't know how to handle it, how to move from it. You know, how to, even an elephant in the room is pursuing the dream. So many of us struggle with not knowing how to
Wow.
move into the dream. So the elephant can be good, bad, indifferent, whatever that is. It's the things that we aren't going to talk about. It's us getting up in the morning, checking our list off, moving through life, going through the motions, and just acting like we don't even see it. So when you get that unfulfilled feeling in your stomach and you decide, you know what, I'm not going to address that. I'm just going to keep showing up. That's your elephant.
Right. But it's eating you alive. It's literally
Exactly.
eating you alive. And I think it's so important for we as women. One of the things that I have come to understand as I've read and studied and researched about what I do, because I'm very passionate about transforming the lives of women. And I'm one of those people, I call myself an in your face, deal with it, keep it real coach.
All
Because
true.
I'm going to confront you about your stuff. But at the same time, I'm going to be compassionate enough to help you walk yourself out of that. You know, one of the things I believe that we're going to accomplish at our live event is really, we're not just going to have a conversation. We're going to deal with what's dealing with you from a ministerial, spiritual perspective. You know, you're going to have some personal breakthrough while you're there, some what I call truth encounters, some light bulb moments, to where you're going to realize I am in a safe environment and I can deal with what's dealing with me. You can speak your truth,
Right.
and that's one of the most powerful things that we are coming into now. You know, one of the things that I realized, Keisha, you're a little bit younger than me. Okay. But my generation, I'm generation something, I don't even know. But there's a generation, in my mother's generation, they kept silent. They didn't talk about anything. They were the Leave It to Beaver and the Griffin generation. You know, what goes on in this house stays in this house. And so that's kind of how they grew up. But we're living in an information age where there's so much information that's available, and everybody's talking about everything. Everybody's exposing their business on Facebook. Everybody's talking about everything. So we're now in the age where information is so readily available, and you no longer have to just sit back and hold all your stuff in. You can actually talk about it freely because there's so many people that are going through the same things you're going through. And that's what I love about what we're getting ready to do.
Well, and the beauty of it, you speak about your generation. As you mentioned, my generation, we just putting it all out there. But the reality is, with my generation, we're not addressing it and fixing it. We just throwing it all out there, living in the mess. You know, it's like, forget fixing it. Let's just make sure you know you in my face. I'm sick of you. Let's just throw it out there. But we're not fixing it. And that's one of the things that I want the ladies to be mindful of, is that on September 21st, when you join us for 2 Women and the Elephant, we're going to talk about the mess, but even bigger than that, we're going to stop it and say, okay, now we've put it out there. What can we do to fix it and move forward? And then the best part about that is you can even leave with an accountability partner to hold you accountable to make things move forward. So I want women to understand that this ain't just us getting together to talk mess, because we've done that. We've been there, done that. We've had cake and drank tea and done all that. At this point, what this is we're going to put the issue on the table. Then we're going to say, you know what, I am ready to make a transition. I'm ready to change. And we're going to discuss how do we go about doing that. So please be mindful of the fact that 2 Women and the Elephant is for the woman, as you mentioned earlier, who's ready to make the change.
Yes. You know, one of the things I I want to talk about the fact that the times that we're living in, and that we're no longer we no longer have to sit in the darkness and hide and masquerade. We're in such a powerful time in the earth where there's an awakening. People are wanting truth like never before, and so you have access now. When you look at Oprah's life class, you look at the things that I just came from MegaFest Girl Talk. You're sitting there and you're watching women having conversations about their personal struggles, their personal issues. They're having open conversations, because conversations can actually heal you. And you know, when I watched the various things that I experienced this weekend at MegaFest, what it did was confirm that these various conversations that are going on, there's a show that's getting ready to come out called Exhale, and I can't think of the lady name that's hosting it, but all of it is centered around talking about what's dealing with you, whether it's your health, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationships, whether it's parenting, whatever those issues are, it's okay to have a conversation about it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, and so that's why I'm really excited about 2 Women and the Elephant, because like you said, Keisha, we all have an elephant. And when you come into the table to talk about this with us, we want you to feel comfortable in a comfortable, know that you're in a comfortable setting where we are both qualified to share and to help you walk out of there, because we both have had our own personal conversations with our own issues. I know I have. What about you, Keisha?
I'm still having conversations every day, and I am committed to having conversations, because the one thing that I realized a long time ago was that there was healing in my story. So the more I shared that story, the more I was released from it. And so for me, it's huge that I always find somebody to share my story with that's going through it, because in helping somebody else, I'm really helping myself. You know, so one of the things you talked about was that, you know, we've been there, we've done it, we've had our elephants. You know, what was that conversation for you? And I know you have 1,000 of them, because I have 1,000 when I think of this question that I'm asking.
Yeah.
You know, but what was that? Give us one conversation that's changed your life.
Well, I remember when I was probably in my early 30s, I was in ministry, a minister at the Potter's House Church in Dallas, Texas, very excited about what I was doing. But to be quite honest, I was in a lot of pain and I was very angry. And I was in a training with who I call now my spiritual father, Dr. Henry Malone, who really said some things to me and really confronted me and made me begin to face who I was. And he said to me, me and my pious self, thinking I had it all together, had suppressed and didn't want to talk about my elephant. Mm-hmm. But he said to me, in a room full of people, he exposed my elephant.
Wow.
He said, you see that woman right there? She's in a lot of pain. And in him saying that, it opened me up to begin to admit to my own pain, to my own fears, my own insecurities, my own anger, my own hurt, my own fear. Oh my God, fear of rejection was a big elephant for me. And so I had the conversation with him on that day, and it changed my life. And you know, Keisha, people go to therapy and sit on sofas, and they're just having a conversation.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
They're just having a conversation. So I think that was one conversation I had, and this whole concept about conversation came about to me one day when God said to me, Sonia, one conversation can change your life. Because I truly believe one conversation can change your life. One conversation changed Peter's life. One conversation changed Paul's life. So conversations are going on all the time. To me, it's just the intimacy and in-depth of the conversation, because you can talk about surface stuff all day long.
Right.
But let's talk about some real issues that are facing women every day. That's what we want to talk about. So Keisha, what's a conversation that you had?
You know, my life, I talk so much, my life is filled with conversations. But I'm going to share a recent one, because it's been the most recent and it's right on the forefront of my mind. But one day, I had been having some issues with my boss at the time. And one of my coworkers who I was really close to, and she rarely ever spoke about anything. I mean, we were close, but she's one of those kind of people that doesn't really talk, or, you know, she's very happy all the time. One day she came into my office and she said, "You want to go work out?" And I'm like, "Sure." And so I get dressed and we go to lunch and we're riding in her car and she says, "Keisha, when you're upset or you're not happy, it affects the atmosphere in the office." And
Wow.
I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Keisha, if you're not happy, the whole office is messed up and nobody's happy." And so I said, "But that ain't my fault. You know, she attacking me. I haven't done nothing." And I was more so hurt than angry, because as I'm sitting here talking to her, I'm getting emotional because I was hurt. And it's important that we learn to differentiate between hurt and anger. And I was really hurt because I didn't do anything and she attacked me out of jealousy. And I didn't understand that it was jealousy. All I saw was, here this woman is, I've done nothing but support her. I've had her back. And for her to treat me like this, wow. And so I was really hurt. And so I had began to withdraw from the situation. And so I would show
Okay.
up for work every day and I would just go straight into my office. When it was time for a meeting, I would leave. When it was time for this, I would go over there. And I just stopped talking. Well, guess what? I'm the person who's having 1,000 conversations. I'm the person who's, hey, everybody. I'm kind of always the center in the life of the party. And the moment she stopped me, and I mean, she just looked me dead in my face and she said, "Can I say something to you as a friend?" She said, "I know, she said, you are the light. And the moment the light stops shining, it gets really dark." And she started to get emotional. And so we sitting there and I'm losing my mind, she losing her mind, and it
Wow.
hit me in the face. "Keisha, you are called to impact environments. And the moment I stop acting in a certain type of manner, it affects the whole environment." And so what it caused me to do was to always be mindful of the standard in which I'm called to, and to, no matter what people do to me, always uphold that standard.
So that
So
was one conversation that
one
empowered
conversation.
you to understand who you were and the influence you have in your office.
Yes. And my
In your
life was
office.
never the same after that. It could not be the same.
Wow.
After
Wow.
that, I had to recognize that, Keisha, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility. Regardless of what's going on, you have a responsibility to people and to people around you at that. You are impacting your environment every single day, whether you know it, recognize it or not. And so that conversation shifted my whole perspective on the impact that I'm called to have in people's lives. And so more than anything for me, again, it reinforced the fact that, Keisha, XYZ is your standard. Don't ever change the standard based upon
Mhm.
external factors.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this, Keisha. Why do you think it's so difficult for people to discuss their elephant?
It means I have to be vulnerable. It means that you may judge me. One more thing you have to judge me on. And so in this world where glam and people have to look a
Pretense.
certain kind of way, yes, false pretenses, and you know my favorite term, false confidence, because most of us are operating in false confidence. In
Hmm.
this world we're just taught to do that. And so the reality is, for me, and the one thing that I have learned, is that it is truly important that you become transparent, parent, and vulnerable. In that,
Hmm.
you can lead your most authentic life. Because that's who we
Yes.
are called to be. We're called to care about those around us. We're called to change people's lives through our own stories, or through our hurts, through our pains, through our successes. And so you can't
Right.
do that until you start to operate in a certain level of vulnerability and transparency. And so, more than anything, it's just hard. It's just hard because people are so judgmental. But at the end of the day, people are going to judge you even when you're doing good.
I think it's most difficult for people to have a conversation basically because we do not take the time to listen. So people don't really think you care. And one
Mm,
of the things that I learned in going through some of the training that I've gone through is listening is one of the greatest forms of showing people that you care and that you actually love them.
wow.
And I think a lot of times people don't have conversations because you know how you ask somebody how you doing and they actually tell you how they doing.
Yeah. my cat got run over, and then I was walking down the street, and then somebody slapped me just out of nowhere. What? Okay, hold up. Just a
okay, but if you ask them, but sometimes we ask people how you doing, and we really don't want to know.
Right.
And so sometimes you ask a person how they're doing, they really need an ear. And just one ear to hear and listen. So I think people have a difficult time sharing and having conversations because, number one, they don't know who they can trust. They've been betrayed before. People don't act like they care. They don't have time. They're not interested. People are so selfish and self-absorbed. So it's very difficult to find genuine people to have a conversation with. And that's why I'm loving 2Women and the ELePhaNts, because I want this to be, and we are planning for this to be an open forum where you can come and you can actually share your heart. You can talk about your elephant, and the elephant, like we said, could be anything. We're going to pick specific topics, of course, but you can come and share and talk about, because one of the things that I have come to understand, that there's a common thread that runs through all of us, Keisha.
Right.
We all believed. We all want to be loved. We all want to be accepted. We all want to have worth and significance. That's common with any of us. And the thing that I think is so important for us to begin to understand is that I am you and you are me.
Right. Right.
And the way you were cut may be a little bit different from me, and your elephant may be bigger, it may be smaller, but all the same, it hurts and it's real, just the same. And I think people need to have difficult conversations if they want to walk in their truth. And the thing that I really, I'm excited about is because I have personally done the work in my own life, and I'm still doing the work. But I will have a conversation about my stuff, and I can be honest and open about my struggles, my issues. And the reason that I can is because, and I think the reason that most people, I'm going to say the reason I can is because I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm not afraid to be transparent. I know my truth. I know who I am, my authentic self. And you made a valid point when you said that. And a lot of people can't be vulnerable because they don't want to be exposed to show anybody who they truly are. And the truth of the matter is, who you are is who you are. Good, bad, and the ugly. And it's okay. It's actually really okay. So
with that being said, ladies, you need to be at 2Women in the ELePhaNt on September 21st at 5 p.m. Mark that on your calendars. Go to Eventbrite, and you see the link below on Sonia's screen. And again, that's September 21st. Go to Eventbrite and register right now. We'd love to see you there. Again, your story can change someone else's life. There may be somebody in that room that you are meant to impact. Do not miss this assignment, because this is just not us showing up to have impact. This is every woman in that room has an assignment. Your story could break something in somebody else that could move them to the next level in their life. So ladies, mark your calendar, September 21st at 5 p.m. Again, for 2Women and the ELePhaNt, we do pray that you will, each and every one of you will join us.
Yes.
And Sonia, any last words?
Well, I really, I think both of our hearts are very passionate about transforming people's lives. And I just want people to know, come with an expectation of really thinking outside the box.
Right.
And not coming looking for a traditional type of gathering, because we're going to, of course, have a conversation. But at the end, we want to offer you some real solutions. If we have to pray with you, if we have to say some declarations, some prayers, we're going to move. Because this is not just a social gathering. This is it's a gathering. It's a festive gathering, but at the same time, it's going to be some ministry that takes place. Not in the traditional format, but enough to know that there's going to be. I believe this, and Keisha can attest to this. A lot of times when she and I are on the phone, there's an anointing that is released. And even right now, as we're sharing, I believe there's an anointing that's being released. Because my prayer is that as you are hearing us share and hearing us talk, you will begin to perceive in your heart, this is the place that I need to show up at these are two women that actually want to pour into me, who want to share with me, who want to help me walk out of my place and deal with my stuff. Because that's honestly what we are about and what we want to do. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what
Absolutely.
we want to do.
So join
So
us.
go and register.
Yes, and I also want to encourage each of you, please go to Sonia's page on Facebook, Sonia J. Wells on Facebook. Go and like her page. She puts so much inspirational content out. And I truly believe in this woman, not just because she's my friend, but she has poured into me from a ministerial standpoint and changed my life and the way I do things. She is definitely a woman of God and has so much information. It's scary sometimes. So go and like her on Facebook. And again, we do hope you guys will join us. I wish each and every one of you ladies an absolutely amazing night and a continuously blessed week.
All righty. Thanks, Keisha.
Bye, Sonia. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.